Here's your YouTube video script rewritten in a conversational, engaging, educator-style tone designed for strong audience retention and delivery on camera. What if I told you that many students can solve complex equations, but still graduate without understanding how debt works? They can write essays, pass standardized tests, memorize formulas. Yet many leave school without knowing how to budget, how credit works, how to invest, or how to build wealth, and honestly, that's a problem. Introduction. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Prof. Roxana Ezenekwe, educator, author, and financial literacy advocate. Today we're talking about something I believe every school curriculum should begin introducing intentionally: financial literacy. Because in today's economy, understanding money is no longer optional. It is a life skill. Think about this for a moment. Imagine two students, let's call them Maya and Liam. Both are bright, dedicated, and graduate at the top of their class. They've mastered calculus, deconstructed literature, and memorized the periodic table. They walk across the graduation stage, diplomas in hand, filled with hope and ready to build their futures. Fast forward 10 years. Maya, despite her academic brilliance, is living paycheck to paycheck. She's overwhelmed by credit card debt, confused by her investment options, and constantly anxious about a mountain of student loans. She feels like she's running on a treadmill, working hard but getting nowhere. Liam, on the other hand, is thriving. He's not necessarily earning a higher salary, but he's in control. He understood how to manage his student loans from day one, built a strong credit score that gave him better options, and started investing early, even with small amounts. His financial life isn't a source of stress. It's a tool he's using to build the life he wants. What's the difference between them? It isn't intelligence, ambition, or work ethic. The difference is that somewhere along the way, Liam learned the language of money, and Maya didn't. This is the reality for millions. Our education system is designed to fill our minds with incredible knowledge. Many students spend over a decade, more than 15,000 hours in school, learning profound academic concepts that shape their understanding of the world. But in that vast expanse of learning, there's a cavernous void. We dedicate countless hours to the Pythagorean theorem, but barely a few, if any, to understanding how money actually works in real life. We teach them how to dissect a frog, but not how to dissect a pay stub. As a result, the vast majority of students graduate without a functional understanding of the very system they are about to spend the rest of their lives navigating. They don't know the basics of credit scores, taxes, cash flow, student loans, retirement accounts, investing, budgeting. Let's break down what this ignorance truly costs. Not understanding credit scores means a recent graduate might get a car loan or a mortgage with a much higher interest rate, potentially costing them tens of thousands of dollars extra over the life of the loan. It's a hidden tax on not knowing the rules of the game. Not understanding taxes means they might be baffled when their first paycheck is 25% less than they expected, making it impossible to follow the budget they naively created. They miss out on tax-advantaged savings accounts simply because terms like 401k or Roth IRA sound like a foreign language. Not understanding student loans means they might choose a repayment plan that keeps them in debt for decades, accruing interest that balloons their original loan amount to staggering proportions. And perhaps most tragically, not understanding investing and the power of compound interest means they miss out on the single greatest wealth-building tool available to the average person. They delay starting by 5 or 10 years, not realizing that this delay could cost them hundreds of thousands, if not millions, in retirement. Time is the most critical ingredient in investing, and our schools are letting it slip through our students' fingers. Then we wonder why financial stress is a chronic epidemic. We wonder why it follows so many adults throughout their entire lives, impacting their health, their relationships, and their overall well-being. It's like sending sailors out to sea without teaching them how to read a map or navigate by the stars, and then being surprised when they get lost. Let me be perfectly clear. The issue is not intelligence. The issue is preparation. It is a systemic failure to equip young people with fundamental life skills. A student can earn excellent grades, a 4.0 GPA, a full scholarship to a prestigious university, and still struggle financially for decades, making basic mistakes that trap them in a cycle of debt and anxiety. They can solve complex differential equations, but can't create a simple household budget that works. As an educator, I see this firsthand. I see the bright eyes and limitless potential in my students. And it is heartbreaking to know that for many of them, the biggest hurdles they will face won't be academic, but financial. Hurdles we have failed to prepare them for. That is not just an education gap. It's a gap in dignity. It's a gap in opportunity. It is a life preparation gap, and it has profound consequences, creating a ripple effect of instability that impacts families, communities, and our economy as a whole. But here is the good news. This is a solvable problem. Financial literacy is not rocket science. These are teachable, learnable skills. Closing this gap is not a matter of capability, but a matter of priority. Take a moment to pause and reflect. What is the one money lesson you wish you had learned earlier in life? Think about how that single piece of knowledge could have changed your own financial journey. That power, the power of early knowledge, is what we can give to the next generation. In this series, we are going to bridge that gap. We will provide the clear, practical, and empowering financial education that should be a cornerstone of every student's learning. We will turn financial jargon into plain English. We will transform anxiety into action and confusion into confidence. We're not just talking about theory, we're providing a roadmap for life. Join us as we embark on this crucial journey to equip our students not just for a career, but for a life of financial well-being and freedom. Section 2. Why financial literacy matters. Welcome back. In our last section, we explored the current state of financial education. Now we're going to dive deeper into a fundamental question. Why does it matter so profoundly? Why should we, as educators, parents, and a society, champion the cause of financial literacy in our schools? The answer is simple, yet its implications are vast and life-altering. For educational purposes, schools should begin introducing financial literacy concepts early and consistently throughout the curriculum, weaving them into the very fabric of a student's learning journey. Because money affects almost every part of adult life. It's not just about numbers on a spreadsheet. It's the silent partner in our major life decisions. It influences our career choices, where we can afford to live, the healthcare we can access, and even the quality of our relationships. A lack of financial understanding can be a constant source of stress, limiting opportunities, and creating a cycle of anxiety. Conversely, financial competence is a form of freedom. It's the power to make choices based on aspirations, not just on financial constraints. It's the confidence to navigate life's inevitable ups and downs with a safety net and a plan. When we teach students about money, we aren't just teaching them how to balance a checkbook. We are equipping them with the tools for a more stable, secure, and self-directed life. So, what are the essential pillars of this education? What core concepts must students learn to build this foundation of empowerment? First, they must understand the magic and the menace of compound interest. Often called the eighth wonder of the world, it's the principle where your interest earns interest. A simple classroom activity could involve giving students a hypothetical $1,000. Show them how, at a 7% annual return, it becomes nearly $2,000 in 10 years, and almost $4,000 in 20, without adding another penny. It's a powerful visual of how time is their greatest asset. But this lesson has a dark side. Students must also see how compound interest works against them with high-interest debt. A $1,000 credit card balance at 20% APR can quickly spiral, with interest charges piling on top of previous interest charges, creating a debt trap that's incredibly difficult to escape. Understanding this duality is the first step toward making interest work for them, not against them. This leads directly to our next point: understanding how debt grows. We need to demystify debt. teaching students that not all debt is created equal. There's a significant difference between appreciating debt, like a mortgage on a home that may increase in value, and depreciating debt, like a loan for a brand new car that loses value the moment you drive it off the lot. And then there's high interest, toxic debt from credit cards or payday loans, which can cripple financial health. A powerful case study for teens is to compare two scenarios. One student uses a credit card for small, manageable purchases and pays it off in full each month, building credit for free. Another student makes the same purchases but only pays the minimum, watching their balance swell over time due to interest. This simple comparison makes the abstract concept of debt management tangible and urgent. With an understanding of debt, students are ready to learn how to budget wisely. Budgeting is often seen as a restrictive chore, but we must reframe it as a tool of empowerment. A budget is simply a plan for your money. It's you telling your money where to go, instead of wondering where it went. A great starting point for beginners is the 50-30-20 rule. 50% of your income goes to needs, things like housing, utilities, and transportation. 30% goes to wants, hobbies, dining out, and entertainment. And a crucial 20% goes directly to savings and debt repayment. This framework is simple, flexible, and helps students prioritize their financial goals. A classroom project could be to have students track their own or a hypothetical spending for a month, and then create a 50-30-20 budget. This hands-on activity transforms budgeting from a boring theory into a practical life skill. Budgeting naturally leads to learning how to save intentionally. Saving shouldn't be an afterthought. It should be a non-negotiable, pay yourself first line item in every budget. We need to teach students to save for specific goals, which makes the process more motivating. This can be broken down into 3 categories: short-term savings for things like a new phone or concert tickets, medium-term savings for a car or a down payment on a house, and long-term savings for retirement. By attaching a purpose and a timeline to their savings, students are more likely to stay disciplined. They learn the art of delayed gratification, the superpower of choosing a greater future reward over a lesser immediate one. Beyond saving, students must learn how to build wealth over time. This is where we introduce the concept of investing. Saving is putting money aside for safety and specific goals. Investing is putting your money to work to grow. Students should learn the fundamental difference between stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. They don't need to become Wall Street experts, but they do need to understand that historically, investing in the broader market has been the most effective engine for wealth creation. Teaching them about low-cost index funds and the importance of a long-term, diversified strategy can demystify the stock market and protect them from get-rich-quick schemes. And that brings us to a critical survival skill: how to avoid financial traps. In today's digital world, young people are constantly bombarded with sophisticated scams, predatory loan offers, and the immense pressure of social media to spend. Financial literacy education must include a strong component of digital citizenship and consumer protection. Students need to be able to spot the red flags of a phishing email, understand the dangers of payday loans with their exorbitant interest rates, and recognize the marketing tactics designed to encourage impulse buying. This isn't just about finance, it's about critical thinking and personal security. Finally, all these skills are tied together by one overarching principle: how to think strategically about money. This is the mindset shift. It's moving from a reactive state, where you're constantly responding to financial emergencies, to a proactive state, where you're making conscious decisions aligned with your long-term vision. It's asking questions like, how will this purchase affect my ability to reach my savings goal? Or, is this student loan a worthwhile investment in my future earning potential? When students learn to think strategically, money becomes a tool to build the life they want, not a barrier that stands in their way. One financial lesson, one concept understood, one good habit formed, it can literally impact an entire generation. A student who learns to budget and save can avoid the debt that plagued their parents. A student who understands investing can start building wealth in their 20s, creating a future they're This knowledge is a legacy. It's passed down, creating a ripple effect of stability and opportunity. And the earlier students learn these concepts, the more time they have for compound interest to work its magic, the more ingrained these healthy habits become, and ultimately, the more empowered they become. They are empowered to dream bigger, to take calculated risks, and to build lives of purpose and security, free from the weight of financial ignorance. That is why this matters. Section 3. Real-world impact. Financial literacy is bigger than money. It builds confidence. It builds decision-making skills. It builds independence. And most importantly, it helps people avoid years of unnecessary financial struggle. Imagine if students graduated understanding how to manage income, how to invest early, how to create multiple income streams, how to use money as a tool instead of fearing it. Section 4. The future of education. We are living in a rapidly changing economy. Technology is evolving. AI is transforming industries. The workforce is changing, and schools must evolve too. Understanding money today is just as important as understanding math, science, reading, technology. Most school curriculums should begin planning for financial literacy education as part of preparing students for real life, not just standardized testing. Because education should prepare students not only to pass exams, but also to navigate life successfully. As we draw our journey to a close, let's reflect on the powerful intersection we've explored. The future, without a doubt, belongs to people who understand both education and economics. It belongs to the students who can calculate the interest on a loan as confidently as they can analyze a piece of literature, and to the educators who empower them with this knowledge. We've covered a vast landscape of financial concepts today, moving from abstract theories to concrete, actionable steps. The goal was never just to learn definitions, but to build a foundation, a sturdy platform from which our students can launch into a future of financial stability and freedom. This isn't about creating a generation of millionaires overnight. It's about cultivating a generation of informed, confident, and capable decision-makers who can navigate the complexities of the modern world without fear. Let's quickly recap the essential tools we've placed in our toolkit. We started with the cornerstone of all financial planning, budgeting. We saw how a simple budget isn't a restriction, but a roadmap. It's the act of telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. We explored the 50-30-20 rule as a starting point, a simple framework to allocate funds for needs, wants, and savings. But more importantly, we discussed how to adapt that framework to individual circumstances, whether you're a teen with a part-time job or a new teacher managing your first salary. Remember the classroom activity? Creating a mock budget for a post-graduation scenario? That exercise is the first step toward intentionality. From there, we demystified the world of credit and debt. We learned that a credit score is more than just a number. It's a measure of your financial trustworthiness, influencing everything from car loans to apartment applications. We broke down the 5 key factors: payment history, amounts owed, length of credit history, new credit, and credit mix, and emphasized that building good credit is a marathon, not a sprint. We also confronted the reality of debt, distinguishing between good debt that can be an investment, like a sensible student loan for a high-demand degree, and bad debt from high-interest credit cards. The case study of the college student who consolidated their credit card debt showed us that even when mistakes are made, there are strategic paths back to financial health. Then we unlocked the magic of compound interest, what Albert Einstein supposedly called the eighth wonder of the world. Our visual explainer demonstrated this concept in action, how a small, consistent investment can grow exponentially over time, with your money earning money, and the earnings on that money earning even more. This is the single most powerful tool for long-term wealth creation. It's why starting to save and invest early, even small amounts, is so critical. We connected this directly to retirement planning, looking at the basics of accounts like a 401k or a Roth IRA. These aren't just terms for older adults. They are vehicles that young people can and should understand, allowing them to harness the full power of a long-time horizon. We also tackled the often intimidating topic of taxes. We simplified the process, explaining the difference between gross and net pay and the purpose of deductions like FICA. Understanding a pay stub is a fundamental life skill, a rite of passage into the working world. And we discussed student loans, not as a monolithic evil, but as a tool that requires careful consideration. We walked through the importance of understanding interest rates, repayment terms, and the return on investment for a chosen career path. The key takeaway is that financial decisions are interconnected. The career you choose impacts your income, which affects your budget, your ability to save, and your capacity to manage debt. But beyond all the numbers, charts, and acronyms, we touched on the most crucial element: mindset. Financial behavior is deeply personal and psychological. It's about cultivating discipline, delaying gratification, and separating your self-worth from your net worth. It's about learning to talk about money openly and without shame, whether with a partner, a parent, or a financial mentor. This is where the real transformation happens, when we shift our perspective from one of scarcity and anxiety to one of abundance and control. We empower ourselves to make choices that align with our long-term goals and values. This is the emotional intelligence of finance, and I truly believe financial literacy has the power to transform generations. Imagine a student graduating not just with a diploma, but with a personalized budget, a plan to build credit, and a Roth IRA already earning compound interest. Imagine that student becoming a parent who teaches these same lessons at the dinner table, breaking cycles of debt and financial stress. This knowledge ripples outward, strengthening families, building more resilient communities, and creating a more equitable society where opportunity is not limited by the financial circumstances of one's birth. This is the profound why behind every lesson we teach. Now, I want to hear from you. This conversation doesn't end here, it begins. We've built a community of educators, students, and lifelong learners dedicated to this mission. What is one money lesson you believe every student should learn before graduation? Is it the practical skill of budgeting, the long-term power of investing, or the psychological strength to resist impulse spending? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your insight could be the one that sparks a new idea for a teacher or provides a moment of clarity for a fellow viewer. Let's build a library of wisdom together. And if you found value in this deep dive and believe in this mission, please support our channel. Like this video to help it reach more people. Subscribe to join our community for future lessons. And share this message with someone who believes education should prepare students for the real world. Thank you so much for watching and for investing your time in this critical conversation. Your commitment to learning is the greatest asset you have. I'll see you in the next video.